change. It's about to change. It's about to change. Life as we know it. It's about to change. It's about to change. It's about to change. It's about to change.
The first days of each of the months of the year are days of memorial to the Most High God Yahweh. This is shown to us in the book of Numbers, Numbers 10, chapter 10, verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you a memorial before your God. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Numbers 28 and 11 states, and in the beginning of your months you shall offer a burnt offering unto Yahweh, 2 young bullocks, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot. As we read, the beginnings of our months are to be held as a memorial to Yah. And now, with all praise be to the Most High God Yah, He has allowed knowledge to be increased, as it is stated in the book of Daniel, during these latter days. Yah has allowed His children access to His holy, inspired word, thus allowing for His servants to receive increased understanding of His word. With this said, the beginnings of our months are a memorial to Yah, as in Numbers 10 and 28. And 4 of those month beginnings hold an even greater significance and are marked on the heavenly tables. Those month beginnings are the 1st month, the 4th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month. These are called days of remembrance and season days. And 4 of those month beginning days are even more special to Yah and called days of remembrance, and commanded to be special memorial days to Yah. These 4 days are also the first days of the 4 seasons of, again, the 1st month, 4th, 7th, and 10th, over those being the spring, summer, autumn, and winter, respectively. Let's read the account of these laws being given to Moses on Mount Sinai in the book of Jubilees. Jubilees chapter 1, verse 1 through 2. And it came to pass in the 1st year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Egypt, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that Yah spake to Moshe, saying, Come up to me on the mount, and I will give you 2 tables of stone, of the law, of the commandment which I have written, that you may teach them. Let's read the account of the days of remembrance in the book of Jubilees. This happens in Jubilees chapter 6, verse 23 through 24. And on the 1st day of the 1st month, and on the 1st day of the 4th month, and on the 1st day of the 7th month, and on the 1st day of the 10th month, are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. And Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever. Let's continue reading this account of the days of remembrance in the book of Jubilees. Jubilees 6, 25 through 28. So that they have become thereby a memorial to him. And on the 1st day of the 1st month he was bidden to make for himself an ark. And on that day the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the 1st day of the 4th month the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And on the 1st day of the 7th month all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend into them. And on the 1st day of the 10th month the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. And on this account he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever, and thus they are ordained. Jubilees 6, 29 to 31. And they placed them on heavenly tables. Each season had 13 weeks. From one to another pass their memorial, from the first to the second, and the second to the third, and the third to the fourth. All the days of the commandment will be 2 and 52 weeks of days, 52 weeks. And these will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year. This account of the law goes further to even acknowledge man's error in their so-called science, even in the number of days in a year. Let's read. Jubilees 6:32-33. And command you, the children of Israel, that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days. And these will constitute a complete year. And they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts, and for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. Jubilees chapter 6, verse 33-35. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged. And they will neglect their ordinances, and all the children of Israel will forget, and will not find the path of years, and will forget the first days, and the seasons, and the Sabbaths. And they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. Jubilees 6:35-36. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto thee. On the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feasts of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error, and after their ignorance. Jubilees chapter 6, verse 36-37. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons, and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon. For this reason the years will come upon them when they disturb the order, and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and jubilees. Jubilees chapter 6, verse 38. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that you mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the first days of months, and the seasons, and the Sabbaths, and the festivals. And they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. The account of Enoch, who was born seventh from Adam, and walked with Elohim, is found in the book of Enoch, and provides further understanding in our walk to properly follow and obey the Most High God Yah. Hebrews 11:5 states, by faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found because Yah had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased Elohim. Let's read additional accounts for the understanding of the days of remembrance as well as the days of division. Enoch chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked are to be removed. Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by Yah, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angels showed. And from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one, which is for to come. The book of Enoch distinguishes the difference. Mankind has often wrongly identified the intercalary days called equinoxes and solstices as the official season days or seasonal days. But this is incorrect. The equinoxes and the solstice days, their job is to announce the beginning of the days of the seasons. And that was dealt with in Enoch chapter 82, verse 5, where it stated, "Men shall be at fault and not recognize them accurately." The actual season days occur on the first day of the first month, and the first day of the fourth month, and the first day of the seventh month, and the first day of the 10th month, that being spring, summer, autumn, and winter, the 4 seasons. The book of Enoch also describes each of the intercalary days, also known as the solstices and equinoxes, by giving the exact time difference between day and night. For example, in the book of Enoch, chapter 72 and verses 12 through 14, it describes the summer solstice. This day is well known among secular world as the longest day in the year, that being the summer solstice, of course. The book of Enoch describes this day as being lasting exactly twice the length of the night. Enoch 72, 12 through 14. "And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts, and the night becomes shorter. The sun rises and sets, 31 mornings. On that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night." The equinoxes and the solstices announce the upcoming season days. The book of Enoch, chapter 82, verse 11. "There are 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year into first," announcing the season days. Further on in verse 11, it states, "The 4 intercalary days are the leaders which sunder the 4 parts of the year." Chapter 82, verse 4 states, "Divide the 4 portions of the year which lead them and enter with them 4 days." This first day of the 4th month is the season day beginning summer, and that is dealt with, that we read previously in Jubilee 6, 23 through 24. Join us in observance of this year's 4th month's Day of Remembrance, a true day of memorial. Praise Yah.
Hello, and welcome to the Watchman segment of our program. You know, when you look back into history, you're going to find out that as the most powerful countries on the earth was the countries that had the 3 tribes of Benjamin, Judah, and Levi as their servants. Beginning from 606 BC, after we came out of Egypt and settled in our land, beginning from 606 BC, you find that not only did the Arabs come in and raid our land, and they were the most powerful nation during the Babylonian Empire, but after them, the Medes and the Persians came in, then the Greeks came in with Alexander, and then the Romans came in with the Caesars. So you can very well see that at one time, all of the nations has had their hand on us, but like I said, the nations that had the tribes of Benjamin, Judah, and Levi as their slaves, these were the most powerful nations upon the earth. And what Yahweh said was, "Whosoever touch his people, touch the apple of his eye, and he will recompense it." So just as the nations fell aforetime, then truly America's fall is imminent, and is spoken throughout the scripture that she will be the first country to go. And that's because she is the most powerful country on earth, and the house of Judah has to be delivered first, just as Yahweh said he was going to do. He even told us, say, "Deliver ourselves, O Judah, that dwells with the daughter of Babylon." So we can very well see that America's fall is imminent. But let me read some things to you that Yahweh had to say pertaining to the fall of America. Now, her fall, the actual wrath of Yahweh our Elohim upon America, is the blowing of the first, second, third, and fourth trumpet in the book of Revelations, and the pouring out of the first, second, third, and fourth vial. That is the destruction of America, which will come after Lucifer is thrown out of heaven in the sixth seal, and the seventh seal is open. Look, when you look upon the earth today and see all of the things that's happening all worldwide, how there's hunger and the ecosystems are being destroyed worldwide, you can very well see that things are putting themselves in place to where Yahweh will pour His wrath out upon this earth. But let me read something to you that the Bible had to say about America, the daughter of Babylon. Understand that the Europeans were called ruled the Babylonian Empire. So when they came over from Europe and settled in America, they're still the same people. This is why Europe is called Babylon and America is called the daughter of Babylon. Europe is the mother of the Christian church, which ended up being the Roman Catholic Church. And in 1572, Martin Luther separated the Protestants from the Catholics, and they came over here. These Christians came over here and murdered off the Indians and took their country and went and recorded the worst slavery in history. And now we got a person that people think is a brother that's running for president, but believe me, he is a Hamite. But let me read something to you that Yahweh had to say pertaining to His people out of America's fall, out of the book of Revelation. This is Revelation 18, and I'm going to read a few verses out of Revelations 18. It says, verse 3, for all the nations, now I better start at verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Well, let's look at that. You can come over to America and practice anything you want to practice and get away with it. America don't have a culture. She's a melting pot of all the other cultures upon the earth, so she has become the habitation of devils and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Verse 3, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sin, and that you receive not of her plagues. Well, let's examine that. Do you know that all of the traditions that we celebrate as a people, that we got either from the Christians here in America or from other nations, basically the ones here in America? And Yahweh told us, I'm going to put you in a captivity under a cruel Lord, but don't you learn His ways. Well, a lot of us even walking around thinking that we are Gentiles. Verse 5. For her sins had reached unto heaven, and Elohim has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh of hosts, who judges her. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see her smoking and burning, standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city of Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is her judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn for her, for no man buys her merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and thynine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors, and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and the souls of men. America was the country that was really, really gobbling up slaves, doing the slave trade, and Yahweh said he will recompense her ways to her. But seeing that she is the power of the whole earth, no one believes that America is going to fall. Well, let's see. Let's go back and see what someone else had to say about that. Let's go back in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah, I'm going to pick it up at Jeremiah chapter 50. And I'm going to read a few verses out of Jeremiah chapter 50 concerning the destruction of America, the daughter of Babylon. I'm going to pick this up, Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 1. The word that Yahweh spake against America, it says Babylon, but I'm going to use the term America, and against the land of the Aryans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare you among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Say, America is taken. Baal, her pagan god, and Merodach, her other pagan god, is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. Well, when you look at the main image that America has, it is the Statue of Liberty, and it shall be broken in pieces. For out of the north, there comes up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come. They and the children of Judah going and weeping as they go, they shall seek the Yahweh, their Elohim. So just before America's fall, then truly the children of Israel will get up out of here, just like all the other nations are going to leave America. They shall ask their way to Zion with their face thitherward, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves unto Yahweh into a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherd has caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting places. Well, what he's talking about there is the various religions that we practice, both small and great, which we got from other nations. And in the process of learning the paganism that we learn in this country here, we have not only forgotten who we are as a people, but we also forgot who created all things, his name rather, and his name is Yahweh. Verse 7. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, We don't offend, because they have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. And what they meant by that is the same reason why we got kicked out of our land, simply because we as a people wouldn't do what Yahweh our Elohim told us to do. And he told us he was going to put us in captivity in a land that our fathers did not know of, and truly America hadn't been discovered at that time. Verse 11, this is Jeremiah 15, verse 11. Because you were glad, because you rejoice, O you destroyers of my heritage, because you are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother, meaning Europe, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by America shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon around about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh our Elohim. Shout against her round about. She has given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she has done, do unto her. cut off cut off the soil from Babylon, and him that handled the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people. They shall flee unto his own land. Once the news go forth that Russia is going to destroy America, people are going to start getting out of here, going back to their own lands and their own countries. The problem is us. We do not have a place to go to. This is why Yahweh has prepared a place for his people to go to once we leave this country. But let me read something to you out of Jeremiah chapter 51. I'm going to start this at verse 28. It says, "Prepare against her the nation of the kings of the Medes," who are the Russians, "the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against America, to make the land of America a desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of America have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken down. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of America that his city is taken at one end. And the passages are stopped, and the reeds have they burned with fire, and the men of war are frightened. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, the daughter of Europe is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her, yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come." Verse 36. "The violence done unto me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitants of Zion say. And my blood upon the inhabitants of the Aryan shall Jerusalem say. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I will plead your cause, and take vengeance for you, and I will dry up her sea, and make her springs dry." Well, if you notice what's happening in America, look at the drought that's going on in this country. And one of the greatest bodies of salt, of fresh water in this country, Lake Michigan, is even drying up. So you can see Yahweh is in the process of drying up her pools and her springs, just like she said. Verse 37, "And America shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment and a hissing, without an inhabitant. They shall roar together like lions. They shall yell like lions whelp. In their heat I will make their feast, and I will make them drunken, and that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, saith Yahweh." Verse 41, "How is Shishak taken? How is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is America become an astonishment among the nations? The sea is come upon America. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, and a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwells, neither does any son of man pass thereby." So as you can see, Yahweh has prepared the destruction of this country to deliver his people out of this captivity, just as he promised that he would. And these are the things that you don't hear in the church, simply because we have to understand who we get our licenses and our charters from, and we have to understand that we preach the doctrines that has been taught to us by our enemies and don't have to have any proof. We just preach the doctrine just because we can preach the doctrine. So consider these things and do your research, and come by the Culture Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel, and we can sit down and discuss some of these things and give you knowledge and understanding pertaining to the things, your past, your present, and the things that's going to happen in the future. Because all of these things are written down in the Scripture, and our deliverance as a people is written down step by recompensing step. And believe me, there will be a deliverance of our people. Yahweh told us we'd be here 400 years, and we are right at the doors of an ending of that 400-year captivity. And once we are delivered, Then, after the Mashiach, when Mashiach returns, we will deliver rule the earth for 1,000 years in complete peace from our holy city and from our holy land of Jerusalem, Israel, and the Fertile Crescent, which Yahweh gave us as an inheritance. So consider these things, because nothing lasts forever, and he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. Like the Mashiach said, I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And by redeeming us, then truly the Hebrew Israelite that was named the Son of God, Yeshua, surely he came to redeem his own people. Then he sent us to teach the world, and the world put us in captivity. Now everything we deal with, we get from the world. But these are the things that's hidden from us simply because of who trained our educators. And because of these things, here we are today, Yahweh's holy people, and we haven't got the foggiest idea about any of our heritage, and all of our heritage and everything that Yahweh had to say to who about us, and especially to us, is written in the Holy Bible. We are the holy seed, and we must be delivered. And this is what Yahweh is in the process of doing now. He's raising up a nation that's going to serve him in truth and in righteousness and rule this earth with the Mashiach for 1,000 years. You can forget about that heaven thing. Like Christ said, no man goes to heaven except him who came down from heaven. Regardless what man say, no man goes to heaven except him who came down from heaven. So consider these things, because our deliverance is at hand. And like is said in the prophets, woe to the man that strives with his maker. And if we don't practice the things that Yahweh gave us to practice, then truly we will have the wrath of God poured upon us, just as the nations will have the wrath of our Creator poured upon him. But these are the things that was all prophesied, and all you have to do is know exactly what Yahweh said, and you'll be able to do what Christ said. And what Christ told us to do was watch. In St. Matthew chapter 24, he said, when you begin to see these things come upon the earth, look up, because your redemption is near, right at the door. Redemption from what? Redemption from this captivity. We have to be redeemed first. Regardless what the Christians say about them getting off in the never land, it was the children of Israel that was redeemed first by the blood of Yeshua, and it will be the children of Israel that will be redeemed first once the Mashiach returned and set up his glorious kingdom on the earth. But in the process of time, it's a way that things has to be done. And all of these things written step by step in the Holy Scriptures. But we don't know these things, like I said, because of miseducation. So come by the Culture Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel, and let's sit down and reason together out of the Scriptures, because the things that are written here were not just written for me or for the preachers in the church. The things written here was written for the salvation of mankind, but it's a way that has to be done. Like Paul said, glory and honor to the Jew first, and then to the Euro-Gentile. And what goes around comes around. In America, we can reach for that pie if we want to, but you better enjoy it right now, because our time is not long in this place of our captivity. And the prophets all told us when these things were going to come down and what was going to be happening upon the earth. And when you look upon the earth through this Holy Scripture, you'll find out that these things are truly happening. My name is Yaakov ben Israel, and I'm the elder priest of the Culture Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We're located at 3901A Covington Highway in Decatur, Georgia. Come by and let's sit down and reason together out of the oldest book ever written and the #1 seller every year. They sell at a rate of 65 copies a minute, to let you know how important it is. Once again, peace, And Yahweh be with y'all. And come by and check us out. And let's see what we can get established, because truly our time is at hand, and time and tide waits for no man. Peace and Yahweh be with you all from the Culture Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel.